Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the RCMP Heritage Center and our last on patrol program of the school year. So, just want to thank everyone for joining us. We have students joining us from all across Canada, kind of here to learn all about the RCMP. So, we have students from all the way out from Halifax, Nova Scotia, all the way west to Lower Mainland BC. So glad to have you guys here on the call, whether you're watching it live or watching this later. As you can tell, this On Patrol is slightly different than the last couple, if anyone had a chance to tune into our other programs, because we are able to actually have this live right here in Regina today. So the RCMP Heritage Center, again, is located in Regina, Saskatchewan, the capital city of our province. And we host many programs such as this one. And like I said, this will be our last one of the school year. So again, thank you so much. We've had so much fun this year learning from all sorts of different officers from Northwest Territories to the smallest province, Prince Edward Island, to learning about rural policing in Brandon, Manitoba, in their area, in the surrounding area. And today, our final one, learning a little bit about livestock investigation. The RCMP Heritage Center does offer other programs, like I always mention on these calls. We are booking final field trips for anyone locally that is interested in coming to the center, or even those who are out of province. We do have virtual programs as well. So I encourage you guys to give me an email if anyone is interested. And we could definitely get you booked in for end of the year field trips here at the center. So today I'm actually joined by a good friend of mine. Actually, we met here a few years ago. So we are so glad to have Owen Third here. And I will pass it over to him to get him to introduce himself and where he works. And
Sure, no, thanks for having me here. Yeah, my name is Owen Third, Corporal. I'm of course, with the RCMP. I'm an RCMP member. Coming on this July, I'll have 20 years of service. All of my work within the RCMP has been done here in F Division or Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
And I guess I've done a range of duties within the RCMP. Started out first, of course, general duty, which is on patrol and uniform, what most people would recognize us as.
Or assume what police officers do.
Yes.
Like enforcing laws, making sure people are following the rules.
Yeah, no, that's right. Started doing that. And the next position that I held, I guess, leads into somewhat what I would have done prior to my RCMP career. So I guess I can mention that Saskatchewan is also home for me. So before I joined the RCMP, I did some farming, grain farming, and came from a farming background, I guess, so to speak. So we had cattle, livestock, horses, you name it. We pretty much had that on the farm when I grew up, and continued to farm. But I also worked for a couple credit unions for a side job, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So and I guess the banking industry led me into my second posting within the RCMP, which was investigating financial crimes and frauds and that sort of thing. So once I spent some time there, and following that, I then transferred into our what's called the major crimes unit, which is predominantly investigating homicides, suspicious deaths, and that sort of thing. So, again, gained a lot of experience in interviewing, investigations, warrant writing, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. From there, I then promoted into our serious organized crime section, federal section, and again, just continued gaining more experience in those type of investigations. Um, Along with that, I received training in regards to helping out on the federal side of things, VIP events, I guess, site security, motorcade, different things like that.
Did that make you travel outside of Saskatchewan then, or was that just purely here in Saskatchewan?
Yeah, that's a good question. So that allowed me, working in the federal section allowed me to work in a lot of other divisions for different events, G7, G8 summits. Yeah, so it was good. I've been able to travel to Quebec, BC, Northwest Territories, yeah, Alberta for a lot of different events, which was another really good opportunity. From there, I spent some time in our recruiting unit, and
that's where we met.
Yes,
yes,
yeah. You know, our office for a short while was here at the Heritage Center, and yeah, which was a great opportunity to meet different people that came into the Heritage Center and learn more about the RCMP. And yeah, and then from there, what happened is our province um, felt there was a need for a livestock investigator to to help with industry and regulations and kind of helping producers with controlling that side of things. And yeah, the RCMP I guess agreed, and here we are today. So yeah.
Yeah, no, so we are going to be learning a little bit about what Owen has gone through with livestock, but I do want to just remind everyone about our chat feature on our YouTube channel. So please feel free to write in where you're from, say hello. This is where you also could ask questions. We do have our team here monitoring the chat, so please be respectful. Ask respectful questions as well. And later on, we're actually going to get some questions presented to us from the audience. And at the end of this presentation, we'll have a chance to maybe do a few of those, depending on the timing. And Owen will definitely try his best to answer those questions. But again, please be respectful in the chat. You could and ask questions, put where you're from, what grade level if you want, whatever you would like. Just a reminder that chat function is there for you guys to use, especially to ask those questions. And those questions will be answered at the end of this presentation. So yeah, as you can see, we are dressed up a little bit. Owen encouraged me to wear a cowboy hat today as well. So this is what we're here to talk about, is livestock investigation. So this is actually a very unique kind of field. When we were looking at presenters, a lot of our staff actually know Owen around our building because not only did he works here in Regina, like he did mention when he was with recruiting. Recruiting was here at our center for a short period of time. So Owen got to know our staff quite well. So when we were trying to figure out presenters, everyone's we have to bring Owen because Owen has such a unique job, especially since he moved over to livestock investigation. And we can learn a little bit more about some unique positions within the force, and something that's completely different when I think about police officers, I think again of the general duty, like you mentioned earlier. But learning a little bit more about livestock, this is something completely new to me. I did not grow up in Saskatchewan. I grew up in Ontario, and we didn't have a lot of farms where I grew up. So kind of learning about this, and when Owen and I were talking before this presentation, it's kind of a very interesting and different fields, things that I would even know about. So, Owen, what is your job? What do you do?
Yeah, so the RCP consists out here, but roughly 19,000 RCPs from across Canada. The role that I currently hold is one of four in the entire RCMP. So we have a person like myself in BC, We have two of us in Alberta, mainly because their livestock herd is a lot greater than what we have in BC or Saskatchewan. Again, so I'm here in Saskatchewan, and so the four of us, yeah, we assist the producers, and we work with our brand inspectors from our provinces in regulating and helping to manage different issues that arise when it comes to livestock. So in Saskatchewan here, my main partner is Livestock Services of Saskatchewan. They consist of roughly 60 brand inspectors from across Saskatchewan, whom I work with on, I would say, a daily basis. There's not many days go by that I don't have a conversation regarding something with one of them.
And is this one of your brand inspectors?
Yeah. This is a pretty good example.
Yeah.
So this here inspector I'm working with on this day, this is in Meadow Lake, Saskatchewan. I guess central northern.
It's a little further up north where we're.
Excuse me. Yeah. So we're just looking at a pen here, just on the day of an auction sale. So what the brand inspectors do is they look at the cattle prior to the sales. If they do carry a brand, they'll make sure that brand has been brought in by the right producer. And on occasions, there are people who will try and pass off livestock that is not their own. And so what the brand inspectors will do is they'll identify cattle or horses, as we'll see later on. But and what they're going to do is they're going to reach out to that producer and make sure they've got a clearance for someone else's brand, which they may be bought at a sale 2, 3, 4, 5 years earlier. So yeah, it's a industry protection.
Yeah, so you didn't mention livestock. So big one would be cows, but you didn't mention horses. Are there livestock, or is it kind of just horses and cows that you?
Yeah, no, we will deal mainly in this province is cattle. That's mainly what we deal with. I would say probably 95% of what the issues I'm addressing are dealing with cattle. Horses, bison would probably take up the remaining, but again, there's not a whole lot of those issues.
And compared to your counterparts in BC and Alberta, are they mostly cows as well, or is there slight differences? I guess.
Yes, no, we're fairly consistent across Western Canada here with what we deal with, and it's mainly cattle.
Yeah. Okay. And you mentioned that you're the only one in Saskatchewan. And there's photos from Meadow Lake, Saskatchewan. So I guess this means you travel quite a bit. This is something that you have to do regularly.
Yeah. So I guess how my role really works is I come from a support unit within the RCMP, which is based in Regina, and that support unit, I provide support to all of our detachments across the province. So, I mean, our detachments are quite busy. I'm in the area of expertise when it comes to livestock, so I'm there to help them, knowing that they've got a lot of other matters that are potentially more urgent in nature, and I can come in and support them. And yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And do you work closely with those other officers in BC and Alberta too? Do you kind of have to travel to them, or work like cases together, or is it just each division has their own kind of thing, and then you don't have to worry about it, or do you have to kind of travel to them?
Yeah. So I guess borders do not really prevent criminal wrongdoing. Some bad guys may know that there's a border and that it might benefit them. In this case, I've got a really good working relationship with my BC counterpart, Corporal Corey Lepine. and Corporal Lindsay Anderson in Alberta, and Constable Neil Reynolds in Alberta. So, no, we try to meet. There are different events that do bring us together.
Okay.
It doesn't happen very often, but it is important. Not to mention, we do speak on a quite regular basis as well. Yeah, we've got a really good relationship. So,
so as we know, the RCMP is a federal organization, and you've been mentioning your Western Canada a lot. Are there any other? Are you just it in Western Canada? Is there anything out in the East, like similar to your role, or is it just kind of a new project for the West?
yeah, I wouldn't say it's a new project, but there have been livestock investigators in the past. It's just due to however things work. They've kind of reintroduced in Saskatchewan. There. With that being said, I have worked with my Alberta counterparts in Manitoba.
Okay, yes.
Manitoba currently does not have anyone in a position. They are working on regulations to introduce brand inspection. So whether or not that's going to happen, time will tell. It's looking very favorable that they're going to make something work, which could very well lead to a position such as what myself and my friends in BC and Alberta currently hold. So
there might be a chance to expand a little bit.
There may be some expansion. We'll be make sure we help them out to get them.
Yeah, especially if they haven't had one for a little while, or new. Yeah. So you did submit some other photos too of kind of auction sales and whatnot. So auction sales are kind of the big things that you probably get invited to kind of make sure everything is good. Yeah. Is there any other parts of the job that you have to kind of?
Yeah, auctions are a great opportunity for me to meet with the brand. Again, there's 60 of them, so I like to make sure that I'm helping them with everything that they need. So I like to visit with them on a regular basis if I'm allowed to, time permitted. The other thing I like to do is we've got a lot of producers that bring cattle in from home. They'll transport cattle to larger, bigger pastures, whether they're community pastures or there are a lot of First Nations in our province that have some really good grass, and they bring in cattle from producers from whether it be from Saskatchewan or out of province in Alberta. And so that's kind of what the I guess this picture is with the liner and with the corrals. That's
these ones right
there. Yeah. So that was during Roundup. And what's happening there is they're bringing cattle in, sorting and loading them onto trucks and sending them home. So what's happening here is the inspectors are taking a look at everything to make sure that particular producer is taking the right cattle home and that they're not taking someone else's, so to speak. Yeah. So I like to. This also gives me an opportunity to meet with the pasture caretakers and pasture managers, just to make sure that to see how the season went and everything's running smooth.
Yeah. So like when you mentioned the managers and supervisors, what are their jobs? Like, is it to feed and raise the cattle before selling, or do they rent their lands to producers or other people?
No, yeah. What's happening is producers will negotiate a contract with the caretakers to put their cows and calves and I guess graze on their grass for the summer. So they'll pay the caretakers, and in a lot of situations, this is where some of my work comes in. Not always is there a contract in place, or something maybe goes wrong. So I find that if I'm able to communicate with the producers and with the caretakers and yeah, know that we're here to support both sides. To yeah, just, things generally go smoother.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and the other picture is that's in Carlisle, Saskatchewan, southeastern, and it's I it was there was a day where the museum was open and they were given some wagon rides and that sort of thing. So
yeah, so it's not all hard work. There is
yeah,
sometimes opportunities to have fun at these like special events, like agricultural events
yeah.
too, right?
No, on
Yeah.
that particular day,
Yeah.
I was rolling through town and I thought, you know what, I'm going to stop in and have a visit. Yeah,
Yeah, no, and Carlisle, Saskatchewan is a very community centered community, and they put on great events throughout, not just throughout the summer, but throughout the winters as well. So Carlisle, shout out to Carlisle. Don't know if anyone is from Carlisle on the call today, but your community is great down there. So yeah. So before we start talking a little bit more about that branding, the images that you have sent us with you on the job, you're not really in a uniform. Is that something standard, or do you wear a police uniform, or what's your look day to day? I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
So no,
Yeah.
this is you know, I guess it depends on exactly what's going on. I do in my pickup truck.
Mm-hmm.
I do carry the items I need to do my job.
Okay.
Vest, of course, sidearm.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a different hat that I will wear in an enforcement situation
Okay.
to identify myself as a police officer.
Okay.
But when it comes to auction sales and that sort of thing, producers find it easier to converse when I'm more just in a role where they find it easier to talk to me, and I'm not an intimidating, not intimidating. So no.
Okay, yeah, no, so that's something unique in your role too, because again, when people think of investigation and police officers, they think of those bulletproof vests and the tool belt and the uniform. So,
and I still, I do wear that quite often, depending on, I guess, the situation I'm addressing. Yes.
Yeah, no, this is great. And just a reminder, feel free to write in those questions in those chats. We're going to definitely have a time to answer those questions, and we're looking forward to those. But, I forgot about your livestock manifest. What is like these documents that you kind of shared with us today?
Yeah, so I'm trying to be able to bring to my kids that are and they'd be able to answer exactly what's going on. So the pink paper is a manifest, and that's when livestock are being transported throughout the province.
Okay.
They will complete a manifest. Yeah.
And what's kind of indicated on the manifest? Kind of what do you have to document?
Yeah. So you're gonna list how many, the type of livestock and what you're transporting, the owner of the livestock, and the destination, where they're coming from, that sort of thing. And there's a portion here. So an example in this particular matter, the producer brought in 2 steers, and they weren't branded. So the NVB stands for no visible brand, which is identified by the brand inspector. That's their comments. And so a manifest must accompany any livestock that are being transported.
And who is kind of the holder of the manifest? So do you create the manifest? That, for example, in your role, do you write it and then you give it to the people, or do you keep it and then?
Yeah, the producer will fill out the manifest, and they will hold on to that. And when they get to their destination, say the auction mart, they'll provide that to the brand inspector, and so on. The document, this other document is a permit. So what this is also signed by the livestock inspector. This is for livestock that are being transported outside of the province. So they're inspected, and it just lets everyone know what's going. And you'll see There are some brands listed. It may be hard to tell, but
These are the brands right here.
yeah, those are some brands there that are listed. So,
Yeah.
so they,
Yeah, no. So, as an investigator, I'm assuming that you would have to read through these if there is a situation. Um, so you don't actually have physical copies of these. The inspectors have it, but you when there is an issue, if there's nothing with a manifest or a permit, what happens in that case?
yeah. So these are more than manifest is a legal document.
Okay. Okay.
So when a producer is that they're the owner,
Okay.
and it turns out that there is a question regarding ownership, this can be used in court for court purposes as they sign stating that they're the owner of that particular animal that they've delivered. So,
and if there is a manifest and then you get called out, do you seize any cattle from people, or do you try not to do that?
yeah, potentially, those seizures do happen.
Okay.
In most situations, it's an offense to not have a manifest completed, which is pretty minor.
Yes, yeah.
And in those situations, it's a simple ticket. It's not. It's more generally how we like to address situations of that sort is educating producers to make sure it's not like we're out to write tickets. We'd rather educate the producer and have them be aware. So,
yeah, in those rare occasions where you have to seize cattle, like what happens? Like, do you take them to a reputable kind of producer or farm land or?
So in the case of the Cedar, brand inspectors, the cattle that are seized are inspected by the brand inspector as they're my specialists in identification. They will be transported to a holding facility and further examined if need be, and the process will be taken from there.
Okay. And you did talk about brand inspectors. Those are not RCMP officers or RCMP members. Those are outside sources that you are they contracted with the RCMP or the force, or are they like what does that relationship look like?
They are not RCMP members.
Okay.
That being said, they work for a non-profit organization within the province here, and their duty is to provide the service to the industry.
Okay. Yeah. And these brand inspectors, are they provincially? So someone out in British Columbia, your colleague out there, he has probably a team of brand inspectors that are local to British Columbia.
Yeah. BC, Alberta, and Saskatchewan each
own. Okay. And they don't
but they very much like how myself and my counterparts BC and Alberta work. They have a very similar relationship with each other's brand inspection.
Okay. Yeah. And we do have some images here of what a brand is. So what is a brand or branding of animals?
With the brand agency. And this is one way to mark your cattle and protect that investment.
Yeah. So when it comes to branding now, it's not a Saskatchewan brand. It is an individual brand for that producer.
That's right. Yeah. So in Saskatchewan, there's different areas and places you can brand animals. We stick to the cattle.
Yeah.
We have 6 locations we can brand here: shoulder, rib, and hip, either left or right side.
Okay.
So and that's and yeah.
Yeah, and when it comes to branding, obviously it's not the nicest, because the animals are getting basically stamped, right?
Yeah, in most cases, producers will use
yeah. So and that it's not a very pain like it was a short little burst of
Yeah.
the animals aren't being too bad, right? So,
No.
yeah,
The other option.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a
Okay.
line.
Okay.
So, yeah,
So-
there are different ways.
Yeah. So what is a freeze brand then? Because when I think branding, I think of the hot iron and
Yeah,
kind of
it would be
stamping.
it would be a yeah, cold brand.
Oh, cool brand. Okay.
Yeah.
So there are different ways
And
of doing it.
Yeah, and I guess the hair fall.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And
Yeah.
the,
So
the other way to
yeah.
identify purebred, you need purebred. Yeah, there's tattooing.
Okay.
There's another. A lot of purebreds don't like to brand.
And okay.
So,
Sometimes tattoos are found in like ears.
Yep.
Yeah. If you're ever at like a egg day where they have like a area where you can go and see the animals,
Yeah.
you might see like a normally black or
You
like a
could
dark blue.
potentially see.
Yeah, no. And how many different brands are here, I guess, in Saskatchewan?
Oh,
Is there?
a long time.
Sure,
How
there's,
many brands?
yeah,
That'd be a question.
yeah.
For my brand.
But there's quite a, I'm assuming there's quite a number,
Yes.
because there's quite a few producers.
Yeah.
And I guess each brand is unique. So if there's interprovincial kind of movement, Alberta and BC are kind of familiar with the producers from Saskatchewan, and I'm sure the brand inspectors kind of
There's a good chance that brands do. There would be producers in multiple provinces that would have the same brand registered, and that's just something that the brand inspectors will work with when.
Okay, so for example, if this F here might be something similar in British Columbia.
Could very well be.
Okay.
Yep. And there's a chance that the same brand can be used, the same, yes, how do I say, style of brand, but it may be located on a different part of the island.
Okay, so depending on where.
That's right.
So and you mentioned where are the locations for Saskatchewan again? Shoulder. Yep. And is that different than like in Alberta and British Columbia, or
it could very well be?
Yeah. Okay.
Job.
Yeah.
But that's, every area.
Okay. So, but here in Saskatchewan, for a horse, if you're branding a horse, the same thing. No neck. No,
I believe it.
Yes, it should be. Okay. All right.
I rely on the brand.
Yes. No, for sure. Yeah, no, branding is actually a very interesting, different ways. So you did mention there are cases though where there is no brand on an animal. So in that manifest, when it has nothing, what do you do if there is a situation where someone is like, this is my cattle, but there's no brand, but they don't really have too much proof? Is that where that rare seizure happens, or talking education piece happens?
Yeah, I mean, every situation is going to be. That's where we'll talk to. I guess it depends on how many parties to ensure. It's the easiest way to protect your investment is to have a brand.
And is that as a job doing livestock investigation? Is this where you encourage producers to do it, or is that more of like the brand inspector's job where they encourage?
Yeah,
or do you guys do work together?
Producers are always to protect security. So branding would be the easiest way. It's a lot of work and does take time. And some producers may use ear tags, which ear tags are still a good way to, in management. The unfortunate part with simply ear tagging and not branding is those tags can be cut out.
Yeah, so a tag is basically like a clip on the ear. Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, no, sorry about that, everyone. Hopefully you did have a chance to hear. But so it's like I guess the clip is just on their ear.
There's some.
Yeah. Okay. So it's kind of like if you think of the Beanie Baby stuffed animals with the tag in the ear type thing. It's kind of the similar thing where ish for our younger audiences they may not. Yeah. Okay, yeah. 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 So it's like a little tag. So but yeah, like you mentioned, those are easy to remove. Yeah. Really.
There's a bad guy out there.
Yeah.
Wants to try and sneak one.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess in your career, have you so far in your livestock investigation, are there cases where you get called out and you do have to step in as that enforcement piece?
Yeah, I've been doing this job for about 2.5 years,
Yeah.
and through my experience, there's nothing. There's never two that are ever the same.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, there's been situations where tags have been cut out.
Yeah.
Cattle have been sold. Branded cattle recovered from out of province. There's a number of producers selling cattle they're not supposed to.
Okay.
There's and I think due to the producers in the province now aware that I'm around to work with them and to help them.
Yeah.
I believe the phones may be ringing a little more now that they know that there's support there.
Okay, yeah. So I guess prior to 2.5 years ago, we didn't have a role like you here in Saskatchewan.
No, it would have been each detachment would have conducted investigations on their own.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So
yeah.
there was still, even though your role didn't exist, there was still
yes.
Instances in detachments in like rural areas that dealt with kind of what you
the
do now.
Would have still addressed.
Okay. So just because there was a position like yours doesn't mean that there was
nothing being done.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it's
always looked at, but now you're just there as like an extra and a specialist. Yeah. So the force itself has a lot of specializations. I think there's over 150 specializations, and this is kind of one of the more unique ones that I've actually had a chance to learn about. I just want to thank you so much for coming in. I don't know if there's any other stories you would want to share with us. I encourage everyone to ask those questions. I do have one question. You mentioned about traveling. How often are you on the road? Yes, because you're based here in Regina, which is quite a south city. How often do you have to travel up north and or just travel in general? How often are you on the road?
Yeah, so I mean, on average, I put on roughly 50,000 kilometers a year with travel, and it's very dependent on, I guess, on what the situation is, what's happening. So I mean, there's really no particular area. I do keep track of where different issues arise, whether it's in Saskatchewan, for instance, if it's Swift Current, Maple Creek, if it's Estevan area, Carlisle, Yorkton, Meadow Lake. You just it's just it all depends on what's going on and what the issues are. And
so if there's, let's say, Meadow Lake happening, there are obviously going to be other auctions across Saskatchewan too. How can you do this? Do you have to attend every single auction, or?
No, I don't attend every auction. I just I find there are occasions where we might be aware of a producer maybe bringing in some cattle that are questionable. So that's a good opportunity for me to meet with the brand inspectors and go through them. And in other occasions, like I indicated earlier, it's just a good opportunity for me to meet with the producers who aren't aware that I exist, for me to introduce myself and to maybe hear their concerns and issues that they might have
Okay, yeah, no, no. So I guess that's good to know. Like you're not expected at every single
No,
auction in Saskatchewan. But you do like to travel. Do you get invited to um, these auctions if they maybe someone wanted RCMP presence at an auction or
yeah, I wouldn't say
no?
too
No?
often I'm invited.
Okay.
With that being said, though, while I'm there, I do like to meet with the owners.
Okay. Yeah.
And we always have some good conversation with them as well.
Mhm.
I do get invited to different events. We've got a number of associations within our province, different annual meetings
Mhm.
and that sort of thing, which is another. I find it's another great opportunity to talk to a larger population
Mhm.
of livestock producers at one in one
One
area,
location.
which is a it's a good opportunity. Saves me a few miles. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So Sarah, who has been monitoring our chat, has dropped off some questions here. So we're going to dig right into it and dive right into it and see what questions we have from our audience. Okay, so this question's about livestock and about the sale of livestock. So this question came in is what happens if you find someone who's trying to sell livestock that does not belong to you? What happens in that case? Yeah.
That's a very
Yeah.
good question. So in that situation, we will, of course, our brand inspectors will sort
Mhm.
that particular animal or animals if it's the situation. The producer will not be paid out for those.
Mhm.
Through our investigation,
Mhm.
we will determine whether it was criminal in nature
Okay.
or whether it's just a simple mistake. And we will um, yeah, ask a lot of questions
Mhm.
and determine whether or not there are criminal charges that exist.
Mhm.
In a lot of cases, it is a fact of we've got producers that have hundreds of cows,
Okay.
and it may be a simple mistake. But there are occasions where producers will be going through their herd and recognize either a brand or a tag that they don't recognize.
Okay.
And what they will do is also contact brand inspection
Mhm.
to determine who owns it and get it returned to the rightful owner.
Mhm.
In a lot of cases, the producers themselves know who is neighboring the cattle and
Mhm.
the neighbors who are grazing close to them,
Yep.
and they know the brands and they'll take it upon themselves to sort their own cattle out. And there's really no need for the brand inspector or the police to get involved. So.
Mhm. Yeah, no, and yet, like you mentioned, if it's criminal, it might be issuing a ticket, for example,
That's correct.
yeah, yeah,
It may result in criminal code
yeah,
charges,
okay,
in something going to court.
yeah,
It may turn into a ticket for trying to sell an animal that doesn't
then
belong
log,
to you.
okay,
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of variables, but
yeah,
that,
for
that
sure,
is a good question.
for sure, and like you mentioned, most of the time it's more about the education
Yes,
versus the criminal.
that's
But when it's criminal, that's criminal, and you'll deal with it based off the situation. Okay. Oh, this one is about just you in general. What is your favorite part of the job? Livestock investigation.
yeah. I think being able to, I guess, being able to work with the brand inspectors is I'm I'm still learning every day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You never stop learning, and I guess helping the making sure I'm here to support the cow guys in
Mhm.
the industry,
Mhm.
and yeah, knowing that I got their back, and, yeah, support them. The beef business right now in all across Canada is very is very big.
Yeah.
It's cattle are worth a lot of money these days, so producers cattle are worth a lot of money, but so are your input costs. So, um, although producers do very well when it comes to sale day,
Mhm.
they have a large number of expenses that offset that. So, um, yeah, I'm here to support them and
Mhm.
hoping that everything goes well for them throughout the year.
Mhm. So this is about a cow, this question, and cows too, sorry, not just one. So what happens if a cow leaves the pasture that they're supposed to be grazing on, and maybe either leaves and goes onto like, let's say a farm road or just gets loose? Um, do you get called in to sometimes to those calls or those situations, or is that kind of onto the producers trying to reel it back in, or can you be a supporting role there
Yeah.
too?
So in those situations, depending on the situation, it could fall under uh, or be considered a stray animal.
Okay.
If it's considered a stray animal, our rural municipalities across the province, they have there's regulations that allow them to deal with those
Okay,
situations.
so those are the little small. A rural municipality is basically like a small
Yeah,
community government.
I mean,
Yeah.
in most
Yeah.
situations, um, where you live on the farm, you
Mhm.
know your neighbors,
Yeah.
you know who's in most
In most
in most circumstances. But there are circumstances where, as I indicated,
Yeah.
community pastures
Yeah.
or larger pastures
Yeah.
where different producers' cattle might be mixed
Mixed
up.
up.
It's a little different, and that's when we'll come and we'll help identify if there is a brand or some way to identify it and have it returned to the rightful owner. And yeah, you always want to make sure that people are safe too, not that they wander on the road, sort of. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But typically, I guess no. I was going to say typically a lot of these are found in maybe not as busy of areas traffic wise, but there are some farms that are closer to major highways.
That's right.
Too, right? So, okay, yeah. Hey, okay, so this is about branding. So hopefully you'll be able to answer it. But if there are no brands on cattle, are there other ways that it could be identified? It's like, would a producer know kind of their product, I guess?
Yeah, in certain situations, if need be, if we're dealing with something criminal, uh, there are ways to through DNA to determine. Um, it's a little more time consuming, but there are ways, other means.
Is that I'm assuming that's a very rare,
Very rare.
very rare,
Yes.
because I'm assuming that's not only time consuming, but cost associated with that.
And yeah, dealing with the lab and that sort of thing. So
Yeah, it's just a long process. I'm sure no one really wants to go through.
no, but there is that option that does exist.
Okay, and again, that's very rare, but it does come across once in a while. Have you ever seen something like that in your 2 years?
We within my 2 years, we have, I guess, taken the DNA.
Oh, really? Okay.
It never came down to it really needing to be processed.
Okay.
So, yes.
Okay. So
we're able to determine it through other means. So.
Okay. Oh, this is a great question. This is about treatment of animals. So do you investigate if the cattle's been neglected or mistreated, or is it just simply just the cell?
Yeah. So we as the RCMP, we will often receive calls from someone who feels that, livestock are being neglected. With that being said, we also one of our partners in this province, anyways, is Animal Protection Services of Saskatchewan. So they are the professionals, the specialists that deal with animal neglect. So we will defer to them. They will do their assessments as per the I guess the state of the animal. And if they believe that they need to seize the livestock, they sometimes will call on the RCMP to accompany them just to allow them to work safely in transporting the animals to a location where they can be fed and cared for, that sort of thing.
Would there any once the RCMP kind of does get involved, will there be times where the producer could be charged with from the RCMP side?
If there are charges in relation to that, that is taken care of by Animal Protection.
Okay, so So it's purely, you're just there as kind of like a supporting role during that time. You don't write the citation or the ticket.
No, we'll make sure that that the animal protection staff can and their supporting personnel can operate safely. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I like this question right here. Why did you want to become a livestock investigator?
Okay. Well, I think largely my background supported it, and I felt it would be an interesting job. So yeah, and again, coming from the farm, it just I think it fits well, works well.
Yeah, and I guess I'm going to combine that question with the one where it's going to ask about your favorite part of the job. Is this out of everything that you've done in your career, is this something that you enjoyed the most, or is there aspects of other positions that you've held through the almost 20 years?
Yeah, no, I think every position I've held has I've enjoyed it, aspects of it. This, yeah, I think right now at this time in my career, this is a good fit. Yeah, I enjoy it, but I've enjoyed all aspects of what the RCMP's had to offer. Yeah, yeah.
Can I, you have time? Oh, this one's actually a funny question, and don't know if it exists. So, someone asked, do you ever get calls for cow tipping? Is cow tipping actually a thing?
Never had any cow tipping
calls. No cow tipping calls? No. Is it a thing? Do you know?
It could very well be. Yeah,
You never been called? Okay. That one was a good question. I like that one. So, okay, so, and this is something that I've been thinking about too, and I'm glad that someone did ask this question. This goes on with the sale of a cattle. If an animal already has been branded, can someone put another brand on it after?
Yeah, that's a good question. We didn't talk about that.
No,
so, yeah, absolutely. If you buy something, it's you buy that animal that does carry the brand. Your bill of sale is going to show you having purchased that animal with that other person's brand. Then what you do is you will go ahead and brand your brand. And it's that's a very good question. And you still want, even though it carries one brand, you still want to make sure you protect your investment. And
so sometimes some cattle could have two brands.
There's situations where they carry multiple.
Okay.
Yeah, 3, 4. Yeah, depending on how many producers that particular animal goes through.
Okay.
Yes. Good question.
And it all has to be documented, right?
That's right.
So that way, if there's any questions, they have the proper paperwork to indicate that they have this person's brand and their brand.
That's right. In this particular this question here, when that person goes to sell that animal, the brand inspectors are going to see that initial brand, and they will have to provide their bill of sale showing that they bought that animal with the brand on it.
Okay. And is it common for animals to be sold by one producer to another producer, where that producer then sells that animal as well? Or is it typically once you purchase something, they they don't get transferred multiple times?
You know, I guess it's dependent. When it comes to heifers or cows, they may switch hands.
Okay.
For breeding. So,
Okay. All right. And this looks like our last question, which is perfect timing because we're coming up to the end. Oh, this one is, what was your biggest case on the job? Is there something that you could kind of share?
Yeah, I can't say there's a biggest one, but dealt with a large number of criminal code matters, which anytime you get to that state, they're always interesting. We had some heifers that were reported stolen out of Alberta. That through working with my Alberta counterparts and the brand inspector, we determined to locate some of those heifers here in Saskatchewan. So that was a good win there for us. There's also calves that have been sold by someone who wasn't authorized to sell them. So it was another good file. We've also got cattle that where the deal was to purchase them, no money exchanged hands, and that particular producer, applied his brand, which is illegal. Applying a brand to cattle that aren't, you don't have a bill of sale for. We've had, or I've had matters, cattle being sold again by someone who trusted someone in taking care of their cattle. Again, no brands, which makes it tricky, but that's where interviewing and
your investigation skills.
Investigative skills come in. So, So no, there's it always seems there's always something going on, and I think the more that people within our province know that we exist, we're there to help them. So
well, thank you so much for your great questions. I really appreciate it. I do want to thank Owen for coming in today to kind of discuss a little bit more about the uniqueness of the RCMP. So again, I want to thank everyone who has been on this call today. Again, either live or who are going to be watching this live stream afterwards. For those who are watching afterwards, if there are any questions from your class, feel free to email me. I could always get in touch with Owen. It might take some time, but as Owen is busy, but we would definitely be more than happy to share those questions with Owen here and get those answers to you as soon as we can. But thank you so much. Like I mentioned, this is the last live stream of the year. So thank you so much. We will be doing these again next year. We're going to have 4 new speakers from RCMP officers all across Canada. So hopefully maybe next year we'll see some of familiar faces or familiar teachers registering. So keep an eye out for that. And thank you so much. And everyone enjoy the rest of your day. And Owen, thank you. Yeah, absolutely.